So it is time for an update. It's been a couple days since the last video. I am still here. I am still playing. I have not quit the league. The loot has been absolutely dreadful, but I am actually still having fun. So the biggest change since last time has been that we are now rocking a Mageblood. Finally was able to get that. Usually I have it within 3 to 4 days of the league. This is taking me about a week. It's way too long for my standards. So yeah. It's way too long for my standards, to be honest. Could have had this a lot sooner. But we are now sitting at 13,500 energy shield. Our mana is almost at 9k. These two numbers are probably going to go up by another couple thousand over the next couple days, hopefully. We got a really big drop today, which was kind of cool. When this sells, we're going to be able to put a lot of upgrades into the build. We got ourselves a Lich's Circuit, 30% quality. These things are extremely expensive at the minute. There's only about 3 of them up for sale. So once this sells, we'll be able to go put a lot more upgrades into the build, and I cannot wait for that to sell. In terms of the tree, there hasn't been too much of a change. This build, or this version, is not using Indigons, it's not using Grace of the Goddess. I prefer the setup that I have, not having to worry about mana at all. It's a lot more comfortable to play, in my opinion. In terms of the gear, not much has changed of it. It's more or less still the same as it was before. The only difference is the tiers and the rolls are a lot better in this version compared to the other one. The helical ring is pretty simple to craft. We can do a video on that, on any of the other gear that you guys want to see a video on. The PoE Ninja / PoB link will be in the description as always. I'll have a look at that, and if you guys have any questions on how to craft any of this gear, it's not great at the minute, but if you guys want to kind of get the basic rundown of it, just ask and I will make a separate video about that as well. In terms of the jewels, we still have a lot of things to change for those. Both of the cluster jewels will be getting swapped out. The large cluster jewel for our overwhelming malice will also be swapped out for different roles. The light of meaning that we have for mana is also going to be swapped out for an energy shield one at some point soon, hopefully. The other thing that's different from this build that a lot of other people use, they use a balance of terror for despair by picking up the extra curse up here. I don't really care about the despair. I don't really care about pressing that extra button. So for me, I'd rather go down here, pick up more mana. It's less buttons to press. I know the despair is only pressed for bosses. I really couldn't care. There is no need for it. It just more buttons than really is needed. I like playing 1-2 button builds the most. I'm not going to be pressing a curse and other things onto bosses. I don't care. There's just no need for it on this build anyway. The clusters are still to be swapped out, as I said. They need to be swapped out for 35% effect. Int, mana and all attributes are the best in slot for those, but this is pretty bad. It's kind of just there at the minute until a new one is made. This one is kind of more along the lines of what we want, except energy shield, we want to replace that with mana. If that was replaced with mana, this would be good enough to use for a while. Yes, the intelligence is low. We'll get that fixed soon enough. In terms of any of the other jewels, there isn't really much that changed. Emperor's Weight is just a no-brainer for in-stacking for us. The other jewel, the Flesh and Flame for Radiant Fate, is what lets us get such a high mana pool, or energy shield pool. We take that off, we lose about 2.5. Give or take about 2,500 energy shield, which is quite a lot. So that is why Radiant Faith is in there, because not only does it give us a lot of energy shield that we would like to have, and it's good for our damage because we're using Tranquility as well, but the reason we like having Radiant Faith as well is because it gives us a small bit of armor. Even though it's very, very small, it's still better than having 0, in my opinion anyway, so that's why that's in there as well. In terms of the flasks, if anybody else is going to be using a Mageblood, it's going to be crit, so near enough cap our crit, so we're not stun avoid as well. It's kind of important because there is no other way for us to get stun avoidance unless we go through Brian King Pantheon. Then again, that's kind of a waste because we can use different Pantheons to make us even tankier than we need to be if we want to drop this. Evasion, because we are using Grace, so Grace with with invasion suffix is great because it boosts us our evasion up to 28,000 at the minute. This number is going to go up as well over the next couple of days. I think it should probably hit about 35-ish maybe, which is pretty nice. And then we have a Bismuth flask for shock avoid because we are using a storm shroud. So we're able to immune because we have dropped our purity of elements since we don't need that anymore because we have the Mageblood with storm shroud. Gives us full element immunity, so we don't need to worry about that. And yeah, the freeze, shock, chill doesn't matter to us anymore. The other one little small thing on the tree that's actually quite nice is that we are using a 1 tattoo for blind. Which is actually quite nice because we are hitting a lot of our damage is overlapping. So pretty much all the mobs are blind unless they cannot be blinded. But then again, it's really nice to have. It's something small, it's not that important. It's a very cheap little thing. Gives us a bit more defense as well, just for us being able to blind enemies, which are pretty much always blinded. In terms of what I've been farming for the last couple of days, I've been farming stacked decks using 5 cloister scarabs. The difference that I've been using that I have not seen a lot of people others use for their stacked deck farming is I spec'd into heist instead of either more things inside ritual or scarabs. For like, I think heist is quick and easy, which is kind of what you want for a strategy like this. You kind of just want to run in and run out. You don't really want to be stopping too much. I know you have to stop for the rituals, but that's a different case where it's actually worth to stop for the rituals. And the reason some of the heist contracts still do sell for quite a lot, especially the ones that have the old Mirage implicits on them, or the enchants. The one with the currency, the experiment item, those are still worth quite a bit, especially if they're fully revealed, so 3 or 4 room revealed, which would be up here. Now, the only thing is if you're wanting to run this with heist, the blueprints that drop are very, very inconsistent from my testing. Over the last couple of days, the amount of currency and experiment ones that I can think of, I can probably list off in less than both hands. There's been that few that have dropped in I don't even know how many maps, but it's been a long time. Like this character is almost at 5 days of playtime. There has been very little of those contracts or blueprints that have actually been dropping. But when they do drop, it's quite a nice boost because they're going for, depending on which one you get, anywhere from about 100C to a couple of divs each, which is super nice. I think this, the 15%, I actually do not think it's actually 15%. It sure as hell doesn't feel like it. You sometimes you'll open up like 7 to 10 heist lockers inside the maps and you won't even drop a single one, and it is kind of a letdown. If I had to guess, this feels more like a 5% chance than a 15% chance. So if you wanted to run heists with these like I was doing, you can. You're still going to make good profit on it. But if you wanted to swap it out for scarabs or whatever else along the tree, you can, because I think there's about 16 points for the heist to spec into it. So there is other things you could do with those 16 points. Some gameplay of the build now coming up next. I know some people have been asking to see what it's like in maps, so here's a quick showcase of it. So in the background you can see what this build is like for clearing for general map to map. Some people were asking to see it. This build is known for its clear, as it always has been in previous leagues, this league, the next league going forward. It's never going to change into being the clear monster that it is. This build does have the upsides and downsides, as most builds do. The visual clarity on this build does not exist in the slightest, especially if you're trying to see ground degens or explosions or anything along those lines. One of the most annoying ones is the meteor that comes down that you get from altars or from the map itself. That's impossible to see with this MTX. It's the exact same color as the meteor that's coming down. You won't see the little spark that goes off before it. Now, if you wanted to not use the MTX and use just the normal the way the KB looks, you could probably see a bit more and it'd be a bit more clear, but it's definitely not what the build is good at in terms of having visual clarity. And to be fair, a lot of builds these days don't have that much visual clarity anyway. But yeah, this build does clear extremely well. There isn't really much else that can be said about it. Clear, its single target is obviously not there, but it's not known for a single target. One of the good things about this build versus the Necro version, the Necro version is easier to set up, it costs a lot less, but its ceiling is a lot lower than the Hyro version. Hyro's version could be scaled to a crazy amount. I'm probably not even 30% of its power at the minute of what it can be. We're still probably missing about 2000 intelligence, if not more, which hopefully we'll be able to get. The build is quite tanky. It is, I think it's sitting at about 100k HP at the minute, which isn't too bad. Yeah, LE hit is about, I think about 60k, 70k, which is also not the best, but it's not the worst either, considering it is a wonder. It's not gone block, it's not MOM, it's not focused on using Swollen, nothing like that. So it is quite decent. The fizz hit at the minute is a bit low, about 20k, I think, with max fizz hit. So those numbers will go up. I think last league they were about, the LE hit was about triple that, the fizz hit was double that. So getting to those numbers again this league would be quite nice. I think we could be able to do it, considering, like I said, we're still missing about 2000 intelligence from our setup that needs to be changed with our cluster jewel, the amulet, the gear itself, to get in the global defense mod on the chest. There's a bunch of things that need to be changed out. This build is pretty quick. Like I said, for mapping, you kind of just go in, you go out, you kill everything. But yeah, if you're somebody that likes to have visual clarity in their builds as they map, just to see the stuff that's going on, definitely not the build for you. You will not see a lot, if anything, especially in Breach or in Legion or anything along those lines, Abyss. Your screen is just going to be filled with these tiny explosions. So yeah, this is for anyone who wanted to see the build in mapping. So thanks for watching. I think that's everything that I wanted to go over real quick. I know it's been a while since the last update on this build, so hopefully this clears up a little bit. If anybody has any more questions, just let me know and I'll get back to you. Or give me a text in game and I'll also get back to you there. So thanks.